recording, and I think it's going live now. So we're like boom, boom, recording and live on both. That's what's up. How's it going, Jake?
Swear.
Chilling, chilling into the night. We're sitting here at 8 o'clock at night. We're probably in a parallel universe with our union negotiators actively bargaining, fighting for a fair contract for both of us. I don't know what's going on with Raley's, man. Do you know any dates for Raley's?
Not any hard dates. I know that my rep's saying that they're not gonna even talk to Raley's until after this Safeway thing's mopped up. I think
Interesting.
that's what
Okay, so
Vibe was saying
Rayleigh's is
too.
kind of
Yeah.
sitting back and waiting to see what the end of this is, and then he'll probably follow suit.
According to my rep, he was saying that they're gonna once Safeway's done, then they'll have Raley's and Bel Air boxed in with the Save Mart and the Safeway contract, which will be that they're trying to match just say that Save Mart contract all the way down the line. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we will fight for you, brother. And I've already heard you've been assigned a store, so you'll be fighting for us. What's up, Brian, in the chat? I see you this time, Brian. Haha. It's working. I can see your chat this time. You're not gonna be ignored. What's up with getting assigned a store? Tell us a little bit about that. That was pretty sick.
But yeah, I was talking to my rep, and we were just talking about the whole Safeway thing. And I said, well, if it happens, I was like, what's up? I could just hit my local store, or we could coordinate something, And that's when he brought up. He's all, no, he's all, we could brought up Calvine Road, which so like apparently when it comes to Safeway, if anybody's familiar with Sacramento, he's only taking Safeways like in the south part of town. So, anyways, long story short, we got locked in on that Calvine Road store, and then hopefully we'll drag Alex and maybe even Oliver along
Cool.
with to that store. We'll see. Yeah.
That's sick. So that's heads up, everybody. That's Rayleigh's, Bel Air's employees, Save Mart potentially employees getting involved to help us out if we potentially have to take action, and that's kind of our strength in numbers. I think we can kick it off with with that right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome. That was Jake, brother from Sacramento. My name's Eric. I'm up here in UFCW Local 8. We're hanging out, just kicking it with the members of the At What Cost group. We're a UFCW Local 8 Reform and Revitalization Group, just looking to build up solidarity and strength in the UFCW Local 8 membership through participating, educating, getting activated, doing everything we can to help our union be stronger, be more open, more transparent, involve its membership, and ultimately win strong contracts that we deserve. Like I said, this is At What Cost. It is July 16th, and it's 8 o'clock. This is our 19th biweekly meeting. We've been doing them every other Wednesday. We do them every other Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So if you want to come hang out, you can do so. You can join in the Discord server and talk live during the meeting if you'd like, or you can watch on YouTube. You can watch live on YouTube if everything's working fine with the connection. But if that doesn't work out, then a recording will be posted afterwards. So, make sure you check it out and interact and, comment, all that kind of stuff so that you can add your voice. That's a big part of what we're trying to do is get each other involved and participated and activated. So, you got to say something, right? Like if you have an idea, if you feel strongly about something, you want something said, or you want the union to recognize a position, you got to say something. So this is a good forum for you to do that. I highly encourage and recommend that you do. This is kind of one of the few places, unfortunately, in our local that we have the opportunity to do that. But that being said, there's been a lot of progress being made on that lately in social media. It's been pretty cool to see Local 8 get a lot more active there. So shout out to whoever's running our social media account in Local 8. That's been cool and enjoyable to see, and I wish you would like unlock the comments, Jake. I know you can concur with me on this one, but I wish you would unlock the comments so we can like talk about how badass you are in the comments. I think that you would be surprised to see how much support you get if you let your members interact with you. Do you have anything to add to that one, Jake, or are you good there?
No, I'm good, but 100% though. They need to unblock those comments. So.
I know it's something that you asked about at the one of our
Yeah.
meetings, so that was pretty. It was pretty funny. It's like, yo, dude, we're trying to interact, and it's like the comments are blocked. I can't even say like, hey, badass like video. It was cool, but whatever. We'll say it here. I know you're watching. What's up, badass video? uh, so listen, like as we go through tonight's meeting, we'll be talking a lot about what's going on in the locals around us, what's going on in our local, and what we're doing, here in Local 8 to build a stronger UFCW membership. And, I just want to remind everybody that like our power and our union, the strength that we have, it comes from our numbers. Jake mentioned strength in numbers right before we started recording, and it's kind of funny because that's the lead into all of this right now is that like the more numbers we have, like it's literally active union members. That's our strength. And the greater the number, the greater our power. The more active union members we have, the more powerful we are as a union. It is that simple. The more active that we get all across the area. When I said earlier, just a second ago, when you add your voice to the conversation, that's power being added to our union. That strength our solidarity as a mass body of workers is where the strength of our union comes from. So what does it mean to be active? It's somebody who takes ownership of their union affiliation, right? We're UFCW members. We're most of us participating in this forum here with that what Costa from UFCW Local 8, and we should own that proudly. Like this is our local, this is our union, and we fight every day in our workplace to improve our working conditions and our living conditions. And at the same time, the benefit of all the work that we do is that a company gets to be successful and a union gets to exist, through our labor. Basically, all of our work provides the value for our company, and our union dues provides the financing for our union to exist. So everything is being produced by the worker in this situation, and our strength as workers come in our collective numbers, like all of us together being able to lock in. So, us as members of UFCW Local 8, our union president, Jacques Laval, he's been talking a lot more to us on videos and giving messages out through these social media. And he talks about the ways to support your union is through word and deed, which that's you thinking, speaking, acting in ways that support your union. That's the things that we're doing, the things that you're hearing right now from us at what cost are all in support and solidarity with UFCW Local 8. Now, a lot of people like in this group and at what cost they came here because they were dissatisfied with their union in some way, shape, or form in UFCW Local 8. The structure of it, or, something to do with the staff member that they disagreed with. Uh, shout out Brian in the chat there. He said company makes more money if we're happy about a good contract. That's 100% true. Like we create the working environment that the customers shop in, and it's so easy to see. But the happier we are as workers, the less stressed we are as workers, the better work we do, the better shopping experience we provide. And we'll talk about some of the connections that we make with our customers and a little bit down the call. But you're 100% right there, Brian. But uh, people joined this group because they had issues with the way that our union structured, the way that our union operates, the lack of transparency in bargaining, in communication, basically a lack of communication, not having meetings that were accessible to membership. Some people had issues, like I said earlier, with staff. Like all of that stuff is like totally valid. Like don't get me wrong, but right now, like what we're doing, like right now, like when you see and hear what's coming out of like this group, this is what family does, right? When family has a common enemy, when somebody like threatens the family, when something comes against the group, like we set that shit aside, like we lock in, we put that stuff down and we go and we take on this fight, which right now is with our company Safeway. And my brother Jake, he's getting ready to fight Raley's Bel Air. Basically, they're kind of sitting back and waiting to see what's going on with our fight, like you heard at the beginning of this. So don't think that that stuff's like not there and it's not important. But we've said it from the very very beginning of all of this, is that like we love our union. We are, I would say that the members of At What Cost are some of the proudest UFCW Local 8 members in our union. And would you agree with that, Jake?
I mean, sure. I mean, from the ones I've met anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. The ones that are speaking up
Yeah.
in the group, like I can't speak for everybody in the group, but to and proud's maybe a strong word, but active is definitely a fair term.
Becoming active. We're getting there. Right?
Come
Or we're
on.
there.
We're
Yeah.
getting there, baby. Come on, we got this. Let's go. You're right. You're right. We're getting closer and we're getting closer. What's up, Lynette? Thanks for popping in. It's good to see you. So, listen, like I said, right now we've got a common enemy. We've got two companies that have let our contracts expire, which I think everybody can agree is disrespectful, to be putting it nicely. For Safeway specifically, they've broken the law. They've been committing unfair labor practices. They haven't paid into their contractually agreed to Lisa account, their retirement account that we agreed to a year ago. They haven't been funding it. And we're well aware of an active grievance that the company has against it, filed by our union, for wage theft, basically, for not paying. It's not basically, it's wage theft for not paying the proper step wages. People aren't getting their raises after they work their hours. That's actively being worked through right now, and they know it's happening. So they're stealing your money. If you're not topped out, you probably, if you're anywhere, if you feel like you haven't gotten a raise in a very long time, you're probably getting robbed right now by Safeway. And that's just a fact. That's what's actually happening. The proof is out there. Everybody's gotten the emails that have like tried to pursue it. So like that's happening. So these companies right now, like that, whatever we've got going on with like, hey, you don't send enough emails, it's nothing compared to what these companies are doing to us right now. And so we need to lock in and we need to handle that. And our strength, it comes in all of us like doing that together. So that's what you see, that's what you hear, that's what's happening, that's what's going on right now. We're in a contract fight and we're locked in arm in arm. We'll talk about what happened with the strike vote and all that, so the world can see UFCW Local 8's not messing around. We came to party, and together, united, like I said, full body, full union body, full word, full deed, everything we say, everything we do, we can get these companies to stand down and respect us with a fair contract that we deserve. Our unity will also give us the strength to move forward against a potentially bad contract. Like we're gonna talk about it a little bit here. Our siblings in Local 700 in Indiana, they have voted down two bad contracts that were recommended by their union, and it takes solidarity, and it takes the union members locking in and communicating with each other to be able to find out and break down like what is a good deal and a bad deal, and whether or not the members are going to support it as a whole. So think about that as we move through this. Our strength comes in our numbers, and we need to stay locked in together as we move through what could be potentially like some labor action, but hopefully not. So, real quick, we'll roll through some social media updates. The Discord server's at 147 members. No growth there, flatline. We had somebody pop in, and turns out they're very anti-union Safeway employees, so they popped out. So we would have had 148, and that member chose to leave. It was actually a really interesting situation where it was like, do is there a red line? Like, do people get to come in here and just be like, unions suck? I didn't even want a union job. I don't feel that's very conducive to like what the mission would be of our group, but it's not a decision that I could make by myself. So, I didn't kick or ban anybody. Luckily, the person chose that this wasn't a place for them and left on their own, but something for us to consider as a group moving forward. Instagram is popping off. Shout out to Jake running the Instagram page. I don't know if you try to stay anonymous on that or not. Sorry if I just called you out, but uh, big time.
All that shit I talk, man.
Mystery man. I know
No,
you're pretty
we
chill.
know.
You're pretty chill on there, dude. I don't think you do anything like a non, but I don't know. He put some not safe for work pics up here, and he's like, "Whoa, bro, that wasn't me." But shout out to Jake. Got a good pop on Instagram. 10 new followers there. We're up to 131, so that's been pretty sick. A lot of new stuff going on. Check it out. He's getting more pictures. Alex is going to share some pictures from their last beer halls and break rooms event on Tuesday, and I'm sure those will pop up on the Instagram. So follow that. More pictures to come. If you have pictures or take pictures from any of the social events and you throw them up in Discord server, maybe tag Jake or let Jake know if you want to share them on Instagram, and I'm sure he'd have no problem putting stuff over there too. So shout out to him for putting that together for us. There's a cool At What Cost logo. That's pretty fun. Good idea there too. Not me. That was all you, lawyers of the UFCW. In case you're looking for somebody, just just joking. Just joking. Parody logos are totally fine. That is protected fair use. You can make that at all you want, but that is the official At What Cost UFCW Solidarity logo with the new Solidarity colors. 131 on the Instagram page. Shout out there. Facebook's at 89, 0 new members there, and the YouTube channel has 7 new members, up to 86. Shout out people on YouTube. I can see you there. Yeah, the Kroger deal did not happen over there, Brian. They're shutting it down. So everybody's upset. You're talking about the merger, and yeah, you're right. This is all like retribution for us not letting their merger go through. Basically, they're trying to make us pay, and that ain't happening. Heads up, if you haven't seen it already, we've got a good link here. It's in the Discord server under the contact tab. If you want to find it and share it with people, it's this one here that says scanned page. But this is the page that's got all the links to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, the shop, and a contact form that you can fill out so that you can get the monthly updates that come out on the first Monday of every month. So check that out. Spread that link around. That's a really easy way you can participate for people watching. Is to take that link, and I'll actually copy it right now and see if there's any way. It would be cool. I don't think I can like type it in there, but I want to try to share it into the chat somehow. If anybody's watching that's also in the chat, just like throw that link in there. But that link is a good one to just send to anybody that might be interested, because they know what social media pages they have and stuff, and so they can get in. They can get in where they fit in. You know what I mean? So check that out. That's what's going on social media. Not too much growth there. Pretty chill. But Jake took the lead that week with 10 new members. So shout out to Instagram. Pop, pop, pop. Everything keeps growing. That's cool. That's what needs to keep going on. I'm sure the UFCW Local 8 pages saw pop too, but we don't follow those numbers. Might be interesting to start looking into that, because people getting active there is, a huge plus to us as well, especially if they keep this trend going of like actively using their social media to communicate with us, which they have been doing, and I think everybody would agree has been pretty helpful and pretty cool. So anybody got anything to add there before we roll on to some strike and contract updates? Yes, Brian, negotiations are ending today, and until they tell us of more dates, we don't know of any future dates. So we'll have to hear what they tell us on the next update, and hopefully it's like that day. It's crazy. We'll talk about it a little bit right now, actually, as we move into this, because they are negotiating with our strike authorization. So for those of you that may have missed the update last week, we did take a strike authorization vote, and the members of UFCW Local 8 Safeway employees voted to authorize a strike, a ULP strike, and an economic strike, with what was nearly unanimous. So I was hearing like 99% as a number, but I don't know any official results. I did hear anecdotally that we had like approximately 100 people vote up here, participate up here in the Reading area. So um, I thought that sounded like kind of mid, but apparently staff was like very like hell yeah, like that's badass. And knowing that we had like 44 people from the Save Mart Food Max contract participate, I guess that would be a substantial lift. But in reality, guys, like our goal should be to get like 100% of people to participate. And there were some huge barriers that were put in front of members, I would say arbitrarily, through not accessible voting options that, as we move into this other side of this contract negotiation and try to circle back on what we think needs to change structurally in our union, I think there would be a bit of agreement around making voting more accessible for more people. The Bernie folks specifically kind of got cut out of the process, and honestly, that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like that's not fair to them. So I don't feel. I talked to some of the Bernie members, and I let them know, the ones I talked to that said that they were going to vote yes to authorize the ULP and yes to authorize the economic. I let them know that their vote was represented through me, and they can share their vote with me because that's what I also voted. And unfortunately, it's the best that we can do at this time. But I also do want to say shout out and solidarity to the members of UFCW, not UFCW, of Store 4178, because they did actually organize around and get a petition going, letting the leadership know that they were disappointed with the way that had been handled, and that asked for consideration in future voting situations. And I just shout out to them for pulling that off and getting a lot of signatures. They got, I would say, almost half of their store, probably close to half their store, 30% at least of their store signed on to that petition. And that's good. It's good to communicate to the union, and let them know how you're feeling, whether it's represented or not represented. So just a real quick shout out to them on that. um, but we did authorize the strike. So with that happened last week. We rolled into this week, and we have negotiations today, and we have negotiations yesterday, but we haven't gotten any update regarding anything going on with that. So we're kind of in this like waiting period where tomorrow UFCW Local 5 does have a 10 a.m. like town hall informational meeting. So I do expect to hear something from UFCW 5. They normally give some good updates. So I'll be listening in on that. Please don't hear me and kick me out. I'll be listening in on that, and if anything comes out of it, like I'll take notes like I have in the past and just share them with the group and let you guys know if there's anything that I'll let you know whatever they say. I was gonna say I'll let you know if there's anything that's important, but I don't even judge that. I'll just type up what I hear and put it in there. Um, but hopefully we get something. Um, just gonna throw it out to the chat. I know Lynette's up there and Bernie and Jake here with Bel Air, but are you guys in a situation where you like feel like you're ready to see escalating action? Like I personally am like, let's move this thing forward. Let's make some stuff happen. What are your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I'm personally ready. Like, I don't know how much, like, if this was going on at Raley's and Bel Air right now, um, I mean, the union would probably be leaning on them a little bit harder. But it doesn't seem like, as far as like my store, for instance, I would say it's probably like at a 60-40 if you're gonna do like a readiness thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, the word on the street, like for us, is that something needs to happen. Like in my store, Lynette's saying the same thing. I'm ready for something to happen. There's a world where, and I don't want this to be the case, but where they come out, from these negotiations and say we made some progress, enough progress to schedule, these next two dates in August 6th and 7th or something. You know what I mean? And just drag this thing on for months, doing what? I don't know. Um, but Yeah, I agree with that. I do agree with that. And then it says rather than just hearing nothing updates, give us something substantial. And that's part of the issue that we talked about with the transparency is that because we don't have any insight, we don't get any view into this process. We don't have any idea what any of the proposals have been other than what they gave us on that fact sheet. Um, so I would also like to see more substantial updates in terms of progress being made because that does factor into you know okay, yeah, like that's a big deal. Let's keep working on this. Apparently they're paying attention. There's a world where I would feel that way. But what we're talking about basically is just that it's transparency because not everyone would even react the same way I would, and they would have different things that they would want to see. So, what we're generally saying is more transparency and more substantial updates. But I think that action, it's time. It's time. We're coming on. This is an April expiration for our contract, so we're talking about 3 months expired. So it's time to do something, and we're bargaining with Local 5. We're bargaining with Local 648. That's the only coalition that's left. Everybody has ratified and gotten their contracts, and so we'll roll into that update, and then we'll talk about some things that Local 5 has done and is doing to kind of ramp up the action, which has been pretty cool to see. So unless anybody's got anything else they want to add to the contract update and the strike update, which is basically we're still in a wait and see pattern until we get some more updates. That's what's up there. And we could circle back on that or touch back on it if anybody wants to bring anything up there. But we do have our two other areas. So Colorado was out on strike. They made it through the 4th of July. Shout out to them. And SoCal was getting ready. They were amplifying and doing more and more activity, but they ended up going out first and taking a tentative agreement. Southern California did and ratified a contract before Southern California even came off of their strike. I know they at least got their TA. I don't know if they ratified, but SoCal took the deal while Colorado was still on strike, and then Colorado ended up getting a deal on the other side of that. I do have up on the screen for the people watching on YouTube right now the information regarding the Southern California deal. They did end up getting $3.70 over the life of the contract for topped out clerks. It's a 3-year contract, so they beat the dollar a year by 70 cents. And everybody got a step up. So in the progression steps, everybody took a step to the next step. So built-in raise, I think that's a pretty creative way to give a raise to everybody is to just give everybody the next step. So that was kind of interesting to see. I hadn't really heard of that before. And then also, there's a for people with 8 years of seniority or more. I thought this was kind of neat, but in the SoCal contract, if you had 8 years of seniority or more, you got this longevity raise as a GM or a meat clerk to try to help you get caught up to what the food clerks make there. So GM clerks have been kind of hosed and meat clerks have been kind of hosed in their contracts over a period of time. So they have these longevity bonuses built in for those people who have stuck around and had those positions. That actually helps them kind of catch up and get more parity with the food clerk wages that you see at the top of that table. So kind of cool there. They've got some other wage updates here. Um, the healthcare and courtesy clerk premiums. Here's the information on people moving up on their progression steps, their retirement benefits. So they ended up the wages, 370. They're really proud of no takeaways. So concessions are always like asked for, and I'm pretty sure that Colorado got the same thing, but they're not giving anything up. They got all gains. Obviously, everybody would want more. People want more. I think they deserve more and could have got more. I think this whole coalition, to be 100% honest with everybody, I think if we would have stayed all locked in together, we all would have got more and should have got more. Um, I'm almost daring this company to try to think that there's not enough of us left to make this happen, because I'm willing to show everybody what you guys could get if everybody else locks in with me and does it. But I can't believe that we're taking $1 a year from these companies. I honestly, every person in this company deserves at least $21 an hour, like today, and then it needs to scale up from there. Like it is, it's a bit insulting, and we're gonna put work into making sure that each and every one of us understands the value and the work that we provide to this company to make sure that we're ready to fight for what we really deserve, which is our fair share here. But I don't want to harp on that too much, because, in all honesty, and I do believe this, the members ratified their contract. That's a majority of the members participating, voting yes on their contract. So that's their contract. That's how it works. They wanted it, they got it. And if they didn't want it, they would have voted no. We're seeing our siblings in 700 do that by voting no on a contract for the second time. So if the members don't want the contract, they vote no. If they do want it, they vote yes. So the conclusion of this is the contract you wanted. And some people didn't individually. I get that, but that's not how we operate as a union, right? That's we move as a single body. So they ratified their contract, and so did Colorado. They came off strike on the 5th of July. Shout out to them. Solidarity, big fight. They went for like 3 full weeks and came off after the holiday. So they hit the company and took out the holiday weekend, and that's pretty pretty ballsy. That's pretty brave. So shout out to all of them out there. They got their contract. Everybody got their step up. They got 350 over the life of the contract. They got a $200 longevity bonus for anybody who's working there that's got 1 year of seniority as of August 1st. So, um, whatever. Those $200 bonuses are kind of weak, but whatever. They got a $200 bonus there, so that's kind of neat. What's up, Smiley? Thanks for popping in. Uh, One thing that I thought was pretty sick, though, is they got something in their contract language called look back language. And real quick before that, I go to that for the people watching on YouTube. I just want to show you, like, Local 7 is the most open and transparent local that there is. So on their ratification page, they've got links to everything: the full contract, the wage tables, and the slides that the president used to give her presentation. So look at this. This is the contract. Pink is the new language, struck out or added. Look at this. This is the new wage tables, the full complete wage tables from the new contract. Look at this. This is the cheat sheet. If you don't want to read any of that stuff, here's all like the hits, the highlights, and all the important stuff from that. This is all open and available to any person. I just went to the website and got this stuff. I just got their whole contract from the website. We don't even, us UFCW Local 8 members, we don't even have a digital version of our contract that we can get, unless you're a member of At What Cost, in which case it's available, because I took a picture of every page and we can have a PDF copy in our resources channel. So you can get a copy there. But there's no digital copy of our contracts. And here we are looking at Local 7. So shout out to the leadership of UFCW Local 7, because they and the members for being this open and transparent and wanting that in their union, and creating an environment where this type of thing can exist for us. But what I wanted to point out here was this thing called the look back language, which creates a full-time position. Listen to this. Every year in December, they have to look back at a 52-week period, and any part-time employee who worked during that period of time, just their straight time plus vacation, so not counting their overtime, a total of 2,080 hours. So they worked a full time as a full time employee. The store gets a full time position added to it. The highest seniority person can take that full time position if they want. Like the highest seniority part time person can take that position. But if they don't want it, if nobody signs up for that, the person who worked those full time hours can get it. So we all know that they're not giving people full time. They're jacking people around on their hours. They're doing all kinds of stuff with not giving you the guarantee, but at the end of the day, everybody's doing the work. This is a really interesting way to create guaranteed full time positions in the store. There's not very many ways to do that anymore. So this, where like they're basically working full time already, and I think everybody can think of part-time employees in their store that work 40 hours a week every week and have for a very long time. Those people would be generating a new full-time position in your building. And remember, once you have a full-time position, there's very limited ways that gets given up instead of being stepped into by the next eligible employee when, say, the full-timer retires. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty neat. We are in this neat situation, or this interesting situation, where we get to like kind of look at these contracts and be like, oh, cool, like I want that. Like we're still negotiating technically, so we could be like, hey, I want look backs, dude. I want this look back language in my contract that they got in Colorado. Like Jacques Laval could be sitting back just cherry picking off of these deals and building like a super contract, which, is a strategy that, you know, works for some and not for all. But it seems pretty interesting. I made some jokes about like, if Big Daddy Jacques, like, shout out to you, brother. If you want to show us like how awesome closed negotiations are and business unionism and top-down leadership is by giving me like an insane contract that makes me a middle class, like, go for it. Show me what's up.
Call that a victory,
I'm here
right?
for it. I'm here for it, Daddy. Yeah. Uh, I'm not saying that's what's happening, but if that's what's happening, like I'm here for it. uh, both of the contracts that they ratified, Lynette said she needs that. She's one of those people out of many in her store, and yeah, it is honestly. It's the small volume stores where that would be. It's you guys that get hit by that the most. Barely any full time positions, but everybody working full time. Think about that. You create new full time positions for you every year, and they got it to where it's gonna look the contract's ratified, so they're looking at the hours that people already worked like last year, 2024, going back, which means that the company can't like adjust course and like hire the staff that it needs. Which that's the flip side of the coin, is that if they don't want to make a million full time positions, they're gonna have to hire the staff that they need to build that up. What's up, Tony? Dude, you just popped in, and this is actually the one part of this meeting that I wanted you to be able to see was this look back language in the Colorado contract. I'm not going to repeat it because I just went through it all, but I'm going to put the link to their contract in the chat and just control F look back and look at how they are going to be able to create full-time positions in their store. Pretty cool. And Tony, the reason I mentioned that for Tony is that he's been one of the guys that's been fighting for minimum hour guarantees of at least 32 and the creation of more full-time positions for people to work in like all the stores. Like he's like a full-time commando. So I wanted to make sure he saw that as a kind of creative idea to create some full-time positions. So do you guys have any thoughts on the Colorado contract and the SoCal contracts? Do you think that they could have got more, should have got more? Anybody feel anything about that? Yeah, that's for the Colorado area, Tony. Colorado contract, UFCW 7.
Yeah, from the amount of that we were able to witness during these negotiations, I mean, it really feels like obviously, like if the coalition would have been wider and stuck together, they probably really could have took the whole thing for a ride and maybe won something really big. But there must these regional differences and things like that, must have broke it up. And I think the writing was on the wall with Save Mart, as far as like the money part of it. I think as far as Northern California. I'm sorry, excuse me. But and that's essentially what Matt was saying, was that that Southern California, they pulled out too quick, and that
Mm-hmm.
they could have got to $4. They're really focused on getting that $4. So.
Dude, I think that I agree with you 100%. I wish that we could have been a fly on the wall for like everything that went down in every room. But, Seattle taking the 2-year deal and coming out first, settling while Colorado was out on strike. And then SoCal also settling while Colorado was still out on strike. Like, you just kind of saw like what looked like a united front just kind of get chipped away, and I agree. Like I said, I'm not gonna poo poo on the members that took the contract. Everybody votes yes for their own reasons, right? So that was their choice and that's their contract. I just would like for people watching, UFCW 8 members, 3,000 members, 7 members, 770 members, 324. Uh, every Teamsters, anybody that's catching this, like us workers, man, like let's stick together. Let's try that. Like we haven't tried that for a very long time. Let's just stay stuck together and ride this out. Like nobody steps off the line alone. Like we all go together. We can do it. I know we can. For some reason, it's politics and shit that get involved. Something gets involved up there that just like I don't know. And I'm talking out of pocket because I've never been in the room, so I'm sorry. But I just feel like that we have more to gain together, and we need to try that really seriously and really fast. In my opinion, uh, so let's keep pursuing that. I think this was the closest. I think that this was the most energy we've ever seen around like a coalition like the Grocery Workers Rising, and even pulling that all the way up into our area and up into Seattle and over into Colorado, and reaching out to Indiana. And shout out to the Essential Workers for Democracy for a lot of the work that they do. Connecting us at the rank and file level, because at least for us, that hasn't been union staff driven. So those connections haven't been made by people in local leadership. Those have been rank and file people connecting through basically the essential workers, like finding us all and like putting us together and helping us find each other. So shout out to them for helping with that, because I do think that that's the right direction to be moving in as a group. And hopefully we can keep doing that. This was, I'm not going to say it was like a failure. I think there was gains that were made in the contracts as a result of it. But I also personally do feel that if we just stayed locked in a little tighter for a little longer, that we would have all gotten more. And as the last local standing, I will say I'm pretty, I'm pretty ready to like dare the companies to think it's over. I'm pretty ready for that. So if nobody's got any more questions or comments there, let's move on to the Local 5 rally. So, speaking of our brothers over in Local 5 and sisters over there in Local 5, this is our Central California, Pleasant Hill, Monterey Bay Area. All actually goes to the coast to Eureka, too. So, hits the coastline. Uh, they're our neighbors, and with 648 in the San Francisco Bay Area, we're the last remaining coalition of bargaining locals. They actually participated in a rally in front of a Safeway in Pleasant Hill, and they had a huge turnout of workers. Now this is a rally. It looks like a strike. They're holding signs that are talking about the things that they're demanding in their contracts. They say things like fair wages now. Um, I actually thought that there was some of the signage was like pretty uh striky like sounding, which I thought was something that we definitely needed to avoid in practice pickets, but they know what they're doing. So they're out there doing their thing. They had a rally. It sends a really strong message. I don't know if you guys have seen it in your feed, but the stories that have been coming out through like the news, like the official news outlets about this activity taking place and these negotiations, it started to kind of hit the news channels. So that has been really cool to see. What's up, Sandra? Thank you for joining. That's been really cool to see because that's NorCal, like getting active, like action popping off up here. So shout out to UFCW Local 5 for taking the lead, getting out on the street in front of a Safeway, holding this rally that you see on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. It's awesome. And, just to call back to what we talked about at the beginning of this, we are ready to escalate our action here. And this is something that we could do prior to going on strike. This is how you prep yourself for strike. These practice pickets are us preparing to go on strike so we don't look like a bunch of buffoons, right? So I would hope to see Local 8 start moving in these directions. That said, we were at the union office making strike signs, and they were not practice picket signs. Those were the straight up strike signs. So we don't know how Jacques swings because we ain't never seen him with the bat. So we'll have to see if he just goes straight for the fence or if he dilly dallies with rallies. You know what I mean? That was sick, dude. Does anybody? What do you guys think about these rallies? Should we hold rallies? Should we be talking to the media, trying to get the media's attention up here? I don't think it's anything that we're gonna pull off like to this level without the support of UFCW staff. So, my personal recommendation is that we take this idea to, like our local leadership, our local staff, and ask them to help us like execute something like this if this is something that we wanted to do.
I think for the sake of not stepping on the locals' toes during negotiations, like coordination, I think in situations like this probably better, right?
I agree, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the time to try to be like, oh look, we're at what cost we can hold a rally. Like no, this is the time to
Yeah.
like show up to the rally. When Local 8 says they're holding, like if we want to hold a rally, we should tell Local 8 like, hey, we should hold a rally, like what they did in Local 5s. And then if they do that through at what cost and the connections that we've made, try to inspire as many people as we can to show up and attend that rally. Um, and we that's something that at the beginning of all of this is like participate in everything you can, every official UFCW 8 activity you can participate in. Like we need to be there, like doing it and fueling it and making it happen. And I think we have been, and I think the result has been that they're leaning into it more. So hopefully that is something. But I agree with you, Jake, that it would be, yeah, 100% us if as a group, like in the capacity of at what cost, it would be to try to help make that UFCW Local 8 rally as as badass as it could be. It get as many people there and make it as energetic and as fired up as it could be. And you know, that's where we're at. It's win-win, baby.
Yeah.
I agree with that. All right, next up, we got the legal rights of shop stewards. I highly recommend this. This is based on a book called The Legal Rights of Shop Stewards, but it's a workshop. It's being hosted but by the Essential Workers for Democracy. I'll put a link for it in the chat. You can RSVP. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a link to RSVP in the description of the video. But this is, if you're a shop steward, you should be taking this. But even if you're not a shop steward, you should take it if you want to be a active steward like person in your store. It Will Bloom, who is a lawyer for labor notes and other labor organizations, he's with a law firm that helps support like union labor work. He's going to be on the call, and he's going to be talking about the legal rights that shop stewards have and what you legally are protected to do and what you can't do and how to do the things that you need to do as a shop steward to effectively support the members in your store. And Kevin's not here tonight. He's working, unfortunately, till 10 o'clock. But Kevin will tell you, dude, I've been razzing him like so much lately. Just like, I'm trying to whip him into like this like militant sick like shop steward that's just like slamming, like watching our backs at all times and stuff. Me and Tony joke about it all the time. But that's what I want. That's what I want in my shop stewards, and as members in your stores, like that's you have the right to have an expectation of your shop steward, and then the obligation is then on the union to provide that person with the tools to be that shop steward that the members want. And if the steward doesn't meet those expectations, then another steward needs to be selected and, in my opinion, elected by the membership. And on we go. One way to become a powerful shop steward is through educating yourself through the tools and resources that are available, and there's not very many of them. So if you would like to get some, I highly recommend checking out this webinar. And also, Will is awesome. I've had the chance to meet him a couple times, and he's actually a super cool dude, super chill. And if you have like legal lawyer like union questions, it's awesome to just be able to ask him. So attend the seminar, get some knowledge, ask Will some questions, all cool stuff. That is a wrap on that. We're moving into the tail end. This meeting was slick and quick. Basketball every Friday at 6 o'clock. It's going on every week. Some people have said, I don't play basketball, but I would come. But guess what? I don't either. And sometimes I throw the ball at the hoop, but most of the times I'm just chilling, like in the grass. The park is fully shaded. Come hang out. It was actually cool last Friday. There was a birthday party, so it was kind of like quote unquote canceled. But Robbie was going out there to play anyways, and he'd been out there every day for 5 months. And he hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, it's just me out here. Like, don't worry about coming out." And I was like 2 minutes up the road, like I was already on my way. So I showed up, and Robbie and I balled for a good 30 to 45 minutes before we called it. And basketball has continued for 5 months straight now, with always having more than one person. We got very close, but I told Robbie there is no such thing as solo darity. We will always have two people at Friday basketball. That's the dad joke for the night. So swing by Enterprise Park, Reading, 6 o'clock Fridays. Play basketball. In a few days, on the 20th, we'll be at Country Bowl again. It's the third Sunday. On the third Sunday, we're starting a new thing. It's Country Bowl in Reading. We went last Sunday. It was a blast. There's a bar there. The bar is sick. Come hang out, bowl, eat some food, do bar stuff. Uh, that's going to be on the third Sunday. Come check it out. It's happening. We've also got a weekly event going on in Sacramento now. Are all these events hard to keep track of? In the Discord, you can check out the event tab where you'll get reminders if you click interested on all of these events. If you're on the Facebook group, one of the admins should be making these events so that everybody gets reminders when these events go live. If anybody wants to do that work or take on that work, that'd be sick, because it is hard to keep track of all of this stuff. But we've got a weekly event going on in Sacramento now, and I hope this continues to grow. It would be awesome if more and more areas like Chico started having these events where people are hanging out and having a good time and just straight up like legit doing normal people stuff, building solidarity. It's cool. Brew House and Breakrooms. It's happening every Tuesday at 6 o'clock in Sacramento at the Fox and Goose. When we go to our union meetings that are down in Sacramento, this is the brew house that we've been meeting in. It is a super sick environment, super chill. It happens to be trivia night every time we go. But on Tuesdays, I'm sure it's not trivia night, so you could just sit there and not have to like think of what these letters, what song these letters spell. uh, but hang out with Jake and the Sacramento team. They've been hitting it up for, I think it's been like a month now that you guys have been doing it. And I'm hoping to see some pictures from Alex soon. I heard he took some pictures from yesterday. That's another thing. If you guys are hanging out there, if you guys are doing stuff, take pictures and share pictures. It's important. It sends a message. It also it inspires other people to do it as well. Like if I see pictures, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start taking pictures. We had a sick potluck today at our work. I'll share the pictures in the Discord after this. That all builds our connection. That all builds the energy that we use to bond with each other. And uh, with that, I think that I can move into the closing comments here. I want to share a story for those of you who haven't seen the YouTube short that got posted. I want to share a story about my brother Tommy. He's the frozen food manager. Uh, he's a badass at his job. First of all, that's just like a side tangent, but uh, he's like also like a badass human being. So I know everybody in their mind can think of their customer, the customer that they have had for years that they've made a formal or an informal bond with. Every time they see him, it's like, hey, what's up? You catch up with that customer, you interact with them in your workplace. Maybe they know stuff about what's going on in your personal life and you know what's going on in their personal life, like all that kind of stuff. It's like it's the kind of thing that inspired me to like pursue a career in this business was like seeing these like crazy like connections that are made inside the grocery store. And Tommy, uh it's just a there's this guy. So Tommy's a frozen food manager. He works an early shift, but Tommy's also on at the store on his days off. And trust me, no one wants to be there on their days off. But we've got a customer whose name is Sam, and Sam's an older gentleman who's very shuffly in his walk. He doesn't have a very steady step. He's very old. But Sam comes and shops every day that I'm there. I don't know if he's there on the weekends, but he's there Monday through Friday for sure. And Tommy's there on his days off to bring Sam a shopping cart so that Sam can hold himself up and walk into the store. Tommy does that for nothing. He does that out of the goodness of his heart because he's met Sam in the store. They've talked, they've joked around. Sam's actually hella funny. And now Tommy shows up to make sure that Sam's got a cart in the morning when Sam gets there on Tommy's days off. When people are in the store, they're in this like really vulnerable situation actually, especially the elderly people. And sometimes they're buying shit that they're like hella hella embarrassed about, and not just old people, like we've seen it like teenagers, women, like all the people buying like Rogaine and stuff. It's like all this shit that just like goes hemorrhoid cream. It's a good one. Goes through the register and just nobody says anything. Like everybody's cool about it. There's this weird like exposure that like happens in the grocery store, and through it there's like these weird connections that we make with customers. People that we see every day. The door dashers are the ones that really hit nowadays, are like your regular door dashers that you see literally like 10, 20 times a day because they're in there shopping your store. It's awesome. Like you connect with them, you connect with your coworkers. It we're an integral part of our communities, like in the store. Tommy shows that when he shows up and he helps Sam. Sam wouldn't have anybody there if Tommy wasn't there. Those relationships, those are the things that bind us all together. That's what's special about what we do. It's what's special about this essential work that we do. It's why we had to come keep doing it even when no one knew if they were going to be safe. Uh, and it's why our friends and our neighbors are going to support us if we have to go on strike. They know you. They know why it's important that we're out there frequenting all the local businesses and making all these connections. They know that it's because there might be a time when we need their support too. That's what community is all about. It's about coming together and providing for each other when you're in those times of need. And when we're in our time of need, when we want our customers and our community to support us, they'll be there because we've been there for them all this time through all of this stuff. So it's a fear that we have, and it's just moments like seeing Tommy there with Sam that let me know, like, no, these bonds aren't with Safeway. It's not the big red S that the customer is loyal to. It's us. It's the people in the building that are making all that stuff happen every day. And the company tries really hard to make you think that you're replaceable. And I will tell you that Tommy is not replaceable. That's something I've never seen before, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty special. Like I would do anything to make sure that Tommy's work, life, and living conditions got better, including strike for him. And that's because of what I've seen him do for other people. And if we can all just like take a little slice of that and take a slice of Tommy and just look at the good in each other and stick up for each other, I think we'll come a really long way. Um, like Albertsons, like it doesn't even feel like Safeway NorCal. You know what I mean? Like when we talk about like NorCal, and I'm sure Raley's, if it's the same vibe, like this NorCal vibe, Albertsons feels like an outsider, and they feel like they've just been like taking shit from us since they came around. And I think it's time that we stand up to them and get ours back. And we're close. We're really close to that. So hopefully, we get some new information there. But that's it. That's all I got. That's a wrap. A quick 1 hour meeting. Thank you for everybody that joined. Thanks for everybody that watched on YouTube. The stream held strong through. I'm happy about that. And yeah, we got the next meeting. It's going to be on the 30th. This is actually a long month. We get 3 meetings in this month. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. So we'll see everybody on the 30th. And we'll wrap it there. 8 o'clock.